What are some cons of being rich? You live in constant fear that your children will be spoiled little sheets. Spoiled little sheets who may be kidnapped for ransom money. Family members constantly asking for money even after you've helped them multiple times. Then the one time you don't help, you get put on the sheet list. You won't know if your friends are really your friends or just there for the money. My college roommate's father was the CEO for a major company. He waited about a month before he came out to us as wealthy. Over the course of college, this was definitely something he struggled with. There was a study a while back, I don't have the link. Sorry, that seemed to indicate that money can make you happy. But only if you grew up without it. If you're born into a wealthy family, being wealthy won't bring happiness. Here's a microcosm of this in my own life that I suspect some fellow Redditors will understand. When I was a kid and didn't have any money, every new video game was a treasure. Now I'm 38 years old, make pretty good money, and have a Steam account. Whereas it used to be that it was a point of pride that I could beat every game I owned. Nowadays when I go through my Steam games list, I haven't even installed probably 2/3 of my games. Some of the time I don't play them at all, I just look at the list, say meh, and browse Reddit. But then I buy more games, hoping I'll find one that grabs me the way they did during my childhood. Imagine that same situation, but with everything. That's probably what it's like to be rich. Things I'd still rather deal with than being broke. I guess that's why it's not common that billionaires just give away all their money. You're not allowed to have problems anymore. If you complain about anything, people think, and sometimes say to your face, but you're rich. This and other reasons are why rich people tend to hang out with each other. You can't talk about money at all without being seen as a big dick. I'm not rich at all. I've just noticed how popular it is to ignore advice because of who gave it on the internet. Like the whole Leonardo DiCaprio debacle. Oh. He's probably using more energy than me, so why the duck should I do anything? Your family automatically assumes you will take care of any issues with grandparents, etc. My father is one of 3 siblings. He does well. His sister recently declared bankruptcy. And his brother is average middle class. When their father got ill, who was expected to pay the medical bills? When their mother had a hip replacement, who was expected to pay for it? Who had to provide her housing for the past 20 years because she didn't work a day in her life and has no retirement? My dad's siblings think he is far more wealthy than he actually is. And he has always stressed to me the importance of keeping your income private. He assumes these responsibilities, even though it does strain him financially from time to time, to avoid fights with his family. It's frustrating to watch from the outside. I wouldn't call it rich, but I was richer than most students at college. I had about 2k in the bank of my money from a job, not parents' money, compared to $50 or less that everyone else had. The biggest problem is budgeting and explaining to people why I don't just buy $500 worth of some stupid sheet. Yes, I can afford $300 worth of Nerf gums, but I'm not going to drop $300 so we can have fun for about 2 hours. It doesn't matter if you do not receive anything from your rich parents and have to work for everything you want. Want a car? Go get yourself a job for your evenings after school. People will always call you a spoiled brat and you get a lot of hate. I do realize that my case is subjective and doesn't apply for everyone. I am also grateful for the way I got raised. Edit spelling. The current situation I'm in. I have to buy everything myself and get no spare money from my parents. I work hard for the little money I do make along with doing schoolwork. Yet there's people who hate me just because my parents have money. If you're poor and unhappy, you can think, hey, maybe I'll be happy if I become rich. If you become rich and are still unhappy, you have nowhere to go. Trust me. Having money makes everything easier. It is easier to handle unhappiness with money than without. The whole money doesn't make you happy is complete bullshit. You become a target. If you're a woman, You get insulted a lot. People will assume that you're stupid or have no work ethic. Take Ivanka Trump as an example. What was she supposed to do? Tell her father to duck off upon learning he was going to run for president? She's rich. But she's not some trust fund baby hitting up Vegas every night. But she could have been. And people just cheat on her constantly. If you're a wealthy woman, it will sometimes happen that you will meet people who instantly assume that because you're well-to-do you must have married into it and are therefore a gold digger. Having jumped to that conclusion, they will immediately treat you with poorly concealed disdain, even if the reason you're financially comfortable is that you inherited your money. I'm sure women who are wealthy because they earned it themselves experience the same thing, too. Gold diggers, I'd assume. I ain't saying she's a gold digger. The thing about having enough money so you don't have to work is that if you're of a certain personality type, you won't work or even leave the house. You have no motivation to do anything because you're not in need of anything. It's like retirement. Sort of. Except you maybe don't have a peer group of other retirees to hang with. That's why it's important to have hobbies and activities you enjoy: volunteering, seeing family, cooking, reading, golf, exercise, etc. Needing money is a powerful motivation to do stuff. Not needing it is sort of a curse. Work. You are always working. I don't think most people realize just how hard wealthy people work. I'm not talking 10 or 12 hours a day. I'm talking ducking 18 hours a day 7 days a week 52 weeks a year. Small business owner here. Can confirm. I turned 32 this year and I make just over $100,000 a year in salary, not counting anything my investments in the market do. My family of all people have a weird attitude about how much money I make, especially since my siblings make barely enough to get by. We've stopped exchanging birthday gifts. And last Christmas was the first time we drew names to give a gift to one person instead of buying gifts for everyone. It's extremely awkward. I want to spend holidays abroad or take trips. But my siblings can't afford to do any of that. I've offered to help pay for things before, only to have those offers rebuffed. Feelings get hurt very easily. I'm not embarrassed or anything about my situation. But the truth of the matter is that it really sucks that the people in my life who are supposed to be ones I can count on for anything resent me on some level because I make a good living. It's very easy to fall into a lifestyle that eats up money just as fast as you earn it. If not faster. That pressure can be pretty relentless. Kind of like the pressure in school where there's always a project due. But instead of projects, it's big bills. I've been in the penthouse and the outhouse. I found financial pressure harder when all the dollar figures were larger. Your wallet keeps making your pants fall down. Pants are for chumps. I just glue money all over my body. Distant relatives that you might not have known existed. I can relate to this. It turns out I have a long lost cousin named Abdul who is a prince of Nigeria. He emails me from time to time. Not rich. But my mum had use of a 4x4 once for a brief while, which she did not own, and suddenly everyone assumed she was rich. The car ironically made her poorer, since it used so much fuel. It was amazing how unfriendly a lot of people suddenly became, and how less willing they were to offer favors or give the benefit of the doubt after they had seen mentioned a car. This was a very working class area, so I think there were resentment and jealousy issues. It was a shame to see. You have to pay higher taxes. It seems like you're not really allowed to have problems. If you do have a problem, you're told to suck it up because other people have it worse. I met a rather large fortune from a corporation started by a relative several generations back. My immediate family is fantastic. Doesn't show our wealth much. That kind of thing. But my extended family is completely ducked. I have an uncle in prison for extortion and none of his children or ex-wife talk to my family. A second or third cousin, I honestly can't remember, is a rockstar style heroin addict. in that he never runs out of money for Drew Gus and lives in a sparsely furnished crumbling family vacation home. He's bound to die. Either by OD or murder. Very soon. He went missing for a week last year due to being kidnapped by a dealer who found out about his money. My dad has 18 cousins. And he talks to perhaps 6 of them ever. And 2 of them on any kind of regular basis. His mother and father both had many affairs and marriages. And he's still finding out about illegitimate half-siblings every few years. Odds of an IRS audit go way up. You have to install more than one router in your house to have Wi-Fi everywhere. You have to install one router. The one provided by the ISP. And many access points. Dating. No idea who's in it for you. And what they want. It's why celebrities and rich people date each other. And don't date normal people. And it's much harder for them to meet. But that's another reason entirely. It's funny though, because I also think normal people celebrity relationships tend to work out better in the long term. Since in order for them to even become friends, there'd need to be more of a deeper connection since they're a celebrity and essentially have limitless friends. To step up from dating. That's just gotta be hard. But at the end of the day we're all human. So who knows? Not rich. But not even approximately poor anymore. You have a hard time relating to people who aren't in your says. You have to be really careful to limit the talk about money, saving, etc. You don't want to put it out there that you make so much more than they do. No one is comfortable with that. You don't mention the nice things you bought. Because if they know what it costs, they'll get really weirded out. It becomes a good idea to try to be in social environments where there's a broad range of says. Church is often good for this. You need the social exposure. Not to get trapped in your world. And people are comfortable there, to some degree, with a variance of wealth across the group. And, of course, fear of raising spoiled brats. Take things for granted way more. When you're not as well off. Not even poor. A vacation is really memorable and fun because of how rare you are able to take them. When you go on them all the time, you'll find reasons that this one wasn't as good the last one. Having to choose which jet ski you'll be using to go to shore. Always the blue one. Not knowing if your friends like you more than your money. Hopefully they like you more. I wouldn't mind if they liked my money. It's my money. So that's the same as liking me.